Good afternoon. Today is the 15th of January and I've had a viewer request. One of my viewers has asked me to talk about car supermarkets. It's something, bizarrely, after almost 300 videos, I don't think I've even really touched upon before. So I have had experience of car supermarkets, both in a personal and professional capacity. And let's talk about some of the things that can be bad about them and also some of the good things, because just like anything, there's good and bad aspects to car supermarkets. I suppose the first thing to do is to define what a car supermarket actually is. In my experience, a car supermarket is a very, very large second-hand car dealership with generally hundreds, if not thousands, of cars on one site, and generally they'll have multiple sites. Examples of this will be what used to be called Trade Sales in Slough, which is now closed actually. Car Giant, Unbeatable Car, there are a number of them. Imperial Cars is another one. My mother and I have actually bought cars from car supermarkets in the time over the course of, I don't know, last 10 years or so. My mother got her previous car from a car supermarket called Imperial Cars, who have several sites. One of them is most prominently on the M3, which is just near Fleet Services in Hampshire. I got a car from Unbeatable Car, which is a group of car supermarkets based in South England. The particular branch I went to was in Portsmouth, but they have others. And then Car Giant is something that I'm sure you would have heard of if you have been, just alive in the motor industry for a long time. It's a very, very, very well-known car supermarket in West London. Others, of course, are places like Cannock. There was one in Derby called Motorhouse 2000. I don't know what that is called now. I don't think it's called that anymore. Then let's talk about what exactly happens in a car supermarket that makes it different from a dealership. One of the things you'll notice about a car supermarket is that a lot of the time they have an inside area where the cars are displayed. It's just like you would go to in Sainsbury's or Tesco or something. And certainly Unbeatable Car, a lot of the cars are stored inside, and you can just walk along rows and rows of different second-hand cars. Now, it's not the case at all that a supermarket doesn't have a no-haggle policy all the time. Some of them actually do have negotiation in the price. Certainly when I was buying my car from Unbeatable Car in Portsmouth, I was able to get a bit of money off the price. I wish I'd actually pressed for more, to be honest, because when I went to buy the car wasn't even properly advertised. I just saw it without the photographs had gone up. My mother also managed to haggle a little bit off the price of her BMW, which would have been, about 2013 or something. We bought that. It's a while ago now. I bought mine in 2015. So generally the place is quite well presented. It's sparse, but it's efficient. And, the turnover they have is ridiculous. They're normally huge places. They're not necessarily small family-run places or anything like that. It feels a bit impersonal, but that's okay. Are the prices better than some other places? Possibly, possibly not. With something like Car Giant, you can't actually haggle with the prices of the cars. So bear that in mind before you ever go anywhere. One of the things I don't like about car supermarkets is the administration fees they often add on, and that really is not for doing anything. You don't really need to pay those necessarily. You can ask not to pay them. It's often something that main dealers do as well with second-hand cars. I think it's a bit ridiculous. I think that's a con. They shouldn't really do that, but some people do, and it's worth, if you are buying from one of these places, checking if there's an administration fee and also refusing to pay it. The experience I had with Unbeatable Car, the experience my mother had with Imperial Cars, were quite similar. They're both dealerships or supermarkets. Sometimes I'll use the word interchangeably because sometimes they really are interchangeable in that way. and I will turn the radio off my mother's car that I accidentally turned on. So they were fine. You know, neither of us were buying the cars on finance at the time. It was literally, you know, we sold the cars we had privately, so it was literally just going there, test drive the car, negotiate a price, and leave. I had to use some of the after sales service because the car that I bought, I found out that the car hadn't had an oil change recently when I thought that they'd done it. So they actually then did that for me free of charge, no problem at all. With my mother's car, that had just an assortment of random tyres on it. And some of them are good, some of them are bad, because, you know, on a BMW, it's supposed to run flat tyres for that age of 3 Series, and I think somebody had messed them up, so that was not so good. But apart from that, I don't think it was too bad, really. I don't remember either as being pretty pressured to get anything, but let's now talk about the bad experience that I had. I'm not going to name the place or the particular brand that I used in this instance when I was with the client. I told my client about the place where we were going, and I asked if we could go to this place, and he said that was fine. I was a bit wary of it though, because I'd heard some other things about it from, you know, other people who'd used it. But we went there. First thing we found out is we couldn't actually park inside the compound. We had to park outside some gates, and we had to make an appointment and not be late. So we were fine. We were not late. The next thing that happened is that we had to hand in our driving licenses, I think, and then we were given a set of keys to the car in question, and we found out that it was in this enormous site in one of the buildings they had at the far side of their compound. So we walked over unaccompanied, managed to find the car, which took a while actually, and it was in this kind of corner, rather dark corner of the place, and it wasn't that well presented. The car had a little bit of deposit on the oil filler cap, which for a car that had done 12,000 miles was a bit strange. So, you know, my client who was with me said, well, okay, let's just, we're here anyway, we'll drive it. So we walked all the way back to the main place, and then we were able to arrange for another member of staff to come with us. So we'd already interacted with 2 members of staff, which was a bit of a pain. And I said, have you put an appointment for a test drive? I said, yes. You know, you put it for the right time, yes. And I wanted to drive the car myself. But they said, only one of you gets to drive. There's a prescribed route. You don't exceed 20 miles an hour. And, you know, that's it. There's nothing else. And I was like, this is strange. But, you know, I said to my client, just get in the car and drive it. So we did. And we drove it around this industrial estate at 20 miles an hour. It was very bumpy, and literally the test drive lasted 5 minutes. That's it. That is not a proper test drive for a car when you're spending, I think this was over £10,000 a particular car was. So we got back, and, you know, the salesperson who we were dealt with knew nothing about the car. He'd never driven that type of car ever before. So that wasn't great. I knew far more about the car than he did, which is a bit embarrassing, to be honest. And then we wanted them to leave because we had another one to go and see elsewhere. And they said, are you sure you want to leave? Are you sure there's nothing else that you want to see? And I said, yes, I'm sure we want to leave now. Give us our driving licenses back, please. And they said, well, we know we've got X, Y, and Z else in. And I said, no, we're leaving now. So I wasn't very impressed, given the fact this was now the 3rd or 4th member of staff we dealt with, and they literally looked like they weren't going to let us leave until we'd bought something, which is a terrible approach, I think, to things. And I think their prices are there and no haggle. So it was all very impersonal. It felt like, you know, you were not to be trusted with anything. And it's just a very strange way of selling cars, I think. So that is a particularly negative experience I've had at car supermarket. Other types that I've been to, like I said, Unbeatable Car, Imperial Cars, they weren't too bad. So it's not a case that they're all bad. It's just some of them, if you're not prepared, can be a bit of a problem. So I hope you found the video to be useful. Please don't forget to like this video, leave a comment below, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already done so. I'll be doing more of these kind of sort of vlog type videos, because quite a few of you actually seem to like these, where I just talk about a topic and don't even bother kind of editing anything into it, which is fine by me. It makes it nice and easy for you to make them. So we'll be talking about another topic quite soon. But thank you ever so much indeed for watching. And my website is www.lloydvehicleconsulting.co.uk. If you wish me to source a car for you, do leave your experience of the car supermarkets in the comment section below. And yes, obviously visit me on Facebook, facebook.com/Lloyd Vehicle Consulting, if you would like to do that. Thank you ever so much indeed for watching.